before you joined Yield School, what was your situation when it came to crypto investing?
My situation with crypto investing was basic at best. I knew that I needed to be investing in crypto, and I was, but I wasn't buying the right token, so to speak. I was using Uphold because that's what I had been told to use, just to onboard and buy crypto assets. And after going through the Yield School program, I realized I needed to be off of exchanges, and the Yield School program took me through that.
Okay. And what were what were you looking for before you joined Yield School? What were you unable to do that you wished you were able to do?
Well, I didn't know what I didn't know when it came to crypto. I knew that there were crypto tokens, but I didn't understand what decentralized finance was. And I needed to learn, and I wanted to learn, because I tend to research as much as I possibly can when there are things that I think are important. And I began to see the shift of the global financial markets. And I knew we were moving towards decentralized finance and crypto. So I began to research as much as I could, but I didn't understand what I was researching. And when I came across your contact information, that's when I reached out, and that's when I joined Yield School. And it literally took me from the very beginning in basics all the way through advanced crypto investing. And that's when I really began to gain knowledge and have a better understanding of what the shift was and really what I was focusing for. And it wasn't to get rich quick, it was to slowly begin to create wealth over time, as I had done with my investments in normal markets, the stock and bond market here in the United States.
Okay. Now, you say you came across our contact information. Do you remember how you came across our company?
I actually saw one of your posts on social media, had been following several influencers, and you weren't an influencer. You came across as knowledgeable and very, how do I put this? Very direct in your message on how to step into the crypto markets. Um, a lot of the influencers that I've seen that I don't follow anymore were hype, and it wasn't how to step into decentralized finance and crypto. They were all selling tokens, they're selling projects, and you were about focusing on bringing people in to teach them the basics and how to invest in cryptocurrency. And that was the appeal for me, because it was night and day from the message that you were sending compared to what I was seeing on social media.
Yeah, yeah, we are very specific in our message. So when you clicked on, it probably would have been an ad or maybe one of my posts, but you would have maybe watched a video and you probably would have booked a sales call, something along those lines. Do you remember what your thoughts were as you were going through that process, getting to know our company?
Well, first of all, that's correct. When I did click on the message and scheduled a consultation. I met with one of your consultants first, who then introduced me to you, and you and I had a one-on-one. But that's where I began to really understand that this was much deeper, and I needed to be involved in the program again to learn what I didn't know and what I didn't understand.
Did you have some doubts and fears as you were going through that process of the consultation call and speaking with our team?
That's a great question. Initially, it wasn't fear, it was more, is this real? And again, I began to do my research on yourself and some of the people that I saw associated with Yield School, and it basically proved, or to me, that no, this was legitimate. And I had no hesitations once I had done that research after the phone call that I had with you to move forward. And I'm glad that I did.
Yeah, I'm also glad that you did. Now, over a year later, has it been a year, Chris?
No, it's been almost 2 years, I think.
Right, you're exactly. So where are you now? Where are you at now?
So I have gotten to the point now that I have grown my crypto portfolio. I've 5x'd it at a minimum. So I'm in excess of 7 figures. When I started, it was with around 100 to 150,000, and I slowly began to continue accumulating based off of the projects that your team had researched, the discussions that we had on a weekly basis, the live calls, and really began to focus on a balanced portfolio, not trying to buy meme coins where I could get a 30,000% rate of return. And in doing this, it has been a slow and consistent increase in my portfolio. And that's really what I've been focusing on.
And how does that level of success make you feel?
It makes me feel confident that I made the right decision. My purpose for investing in crypto is not only because there is a shift in the financial system, but I have two special needs children that I'm focusing on. And for me to create wealth so I can have generational income or generational wealth that's created for my family.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm very glad that you've had a good experience and you've seen those returns, Chris. What would you tell someone who is watching this right now and is unsure about taking the next step, maybe whether to work with us or not?
If you have the opportunity and the ability, invest in yourself. The only way you're going to invest in yourself is to step into Yield School. The customer service has been absolutely outstanding. The course has been absolutely outstanding. I would tell any investor or anybody that wants to step into crypto, you have everything to gain and everything to lose by not stepping into a programs like what Yield School has in place, because it is going to turn you into a true investor, not just somebody that wants to buy a token and keep their fingers crossed that they make money. I've seen too many people getting wrecked by cryptocurrency because they don't understand it. And having the knowledge, the know-how, and the team that can support your growth is priceless.
Could you talk about the difference between a cryptocurrency investor who is just opening the Coinbase app on their phone and the cryptocurrency investor who is operating in the primary markets like you do?
Absolutely. I was the person that was operating on a Coinbase exchange or an Uphold exchange, just buying tokens that I thought I needed, or that a social media influencer said, hey, this is the next big thing. And I found that I was stagnant. All I was doing was putting money into crypto, and I really wasn't getting a rate of return. A crypto investor that goes through the Yield School program is growing their portfolio, and it is a consistent growth that you're not going to find if you're trying to do it on your own.
Yeah. What about could you talk about the difference in maybe the assets or the opportunities that you would see in the primary markets versus the secondary markets? Is it the same? I know it's a leading question, but maybe you could help someone understand who's never actually operated or try to invest in crypto outside of the app on their phone?
The difference between primary markets and secondary markets, I lived in the secondary markets buying from the exchanges. And what I found after I went through yield school and working or being able to invest in the primary markets, I was getting access to projects and tokens before they hit the secondary market, where the exchanges and the cost was 30, 40, 50% higher than what I was able to purchase these tokens for in the primary markets. I don't look at the secondary markets now. All I do is focus on the primary markets. If you're a beginning investor, the secondary markets is the equivalent of buying from a Fidelity, a Coinbase, a Kraken, where these tokens have already gained most of their appreciation prior to hitting the exchanges, where you then have access to buy them.
Yeah. So why wait? Why not take the few extra steps to go directly to the source and participate in these opportunities as early as you can? So that's our philosophy. And so I appreciate you explaining that to people, Chris. Is there anything else that you'd like to say for anybody who's maybe on the fence, considering whether to work with Yield School or not?
Don't stay on the fence. I shared earlier, many crypto investors take the ostrich effect, where they stick their head in a hole in the ground and they miss the opportunities that are in front of them. We have a window over the next few years for people to slowly create generational wealth, as long as they're disciplined in their investments. I didn't have the discipline or the understanding before I went through the Yield School program. Now that I do, it was well worth the investment in myself as well as in Yield School to gain that knowledge.